Hello, hi, my name is Eugene Gonzalez Lopez. As of last year, 100 million people died from different health-related disorders. 2 of those people last year were my parents. They died from diabetes and cancer. These disorders, through animal testing, we can find cures for. After doing research in that topic and my own research in forensic toxicology, I agree with the expert that animal testing for medical purposes is actually moral. Before I continue with the speech, I ask that everybody keeps an open mind. And first, I would outline the moral justifications of animal testing. What are some of the benefits of animal testing, and also what are some of the negative results of not doing animal testing? First, the moral justifications. In other countries, especially in the United Kingdom and in other countries in Europe, animal testing is actually a legal right that everyone must do. In UK, for example, the Medicine Act of 1968 states that all drugs and other treatments must be tested on 2 different mammals, one being a rodent and the other animal being a higher mammal. According to protest.org, they are advocating group for animal testing. They state that when the common good is concerned, as long as the pros outweighs the negatives, it is actually morally justified. As long as we maintain the common good of society and we go with good expectations, we're not trying to cause any malice or start any harm for the animals, then we are morally justified to conduct research. The research actually benefits not just us, but it also benefits the animals themselves. The World Health Organization states that aside from all the human benefits that we receive from animal testing, the animals receive just as much. We have discovered different disorders and different cures for animals, as well as the ability to promote that life of livestock. Most of animal testing is done on rats. So 98% of all the animals tested is actually rats. This is also from the World Health Organization. And there are numerous safeguards to prevent the mistreatment of animals. The American Heart Association, responsible for governing animal testing, guarantees that in order to get funding, you must first show that there are no viable alternatives without using animals. The research cannot be successfully you must prove that the research cannot be successfully completed without animals, and that the experiment will be designed to actually get the needed results, that they don't want any unnecessary results. Now that we know a couple of the moral justifications for animal testing, I would like to examine the benefits of animal testing. First, if you look behind me, this chart is from Star Tribune, a newspaper in New Orleans, and they compiled the 10 most, the 10 best treatment, the 10 best life-saving treatments in the world, and they outlined it here with the 10. The 3 that are not highlighted, that are blue, with number 1, 3, and 4, did not contain animals. All the others actually contained animals. And if you put all those achievements together, the amount of animals that they used was less than 1,000. But if you add all the numbers that they saved, that is over 2 billion. That is more than the population of the United States of America combined. So, animal testing is essentially used because animals can relate to certain disorders and diseases similar to humans. We cannot use machines or other computer-based programs because our bodies is incredibly complex. A computer cannot even replicate the digestive system of a rat. So how can we expect to represent our own human system? From Dr. Robert Pizzo, president of the Federation of American Society of Experimental Biology, states that all Americans are living longer and healthier lives, all due to animal testing in the biomedical sciences. Okay. If you look in the picture behind me, these are just some of the benefits that we receive from animal testing. We learned a lot about allergies, arthritis, cancers, asthma, all from animals. And if we just examine one of these bullet points, diabetes, we see that from the United States Health Diabetes Fact Sheet, we see that just of last year, we had a total of 25 million people diagnosed with diabetes. And to get, in the 1900s, diabetes used to be considered a death threat, a mandatory death. They didn't have any treatment. You had diabetes, about 10 years later, you died, you became blind, you had to amputate a limb. Now, through the research that was done in 1921 by Dr. Frederick Blanton, who extracted insulin from a sheep and then injected it into a diabetic dog that was near death, he found that it actually reversed some of the effects and it actually promoted the dog's health. After more examination, this then became an actual treatment for diabetes, and it has saved over 130 million people so far. And if you look behind me, this is also the breakdown of diabetes for men and women, and also for kids. You see for men is about 13 million, for women is about 12 million. Those are above the age of 20. And then children under the age of 20 is about 0.62%, which basically means 1 out of every 400 kids is diagnosed with diabetes. Now that we know some of the positive benefits of diabetes, I would like to talk about what are some of the what are some of the problems that we'll face if we stop using animal testing. Okay. If animal testing stopped today, our population in general will be dramatically reduced. This is because HIV, for one thing, is a rapidly changing disorder. And with HIV, we need to constantly change and do new animal testing to find out, because the virus is always changing. So from the American World Health Association, they said that about 8 million people are diagnosed with HIV per year in the world. And all those people have a different virus than the virus a year ago. So if we use the same medicine a year ago, those people will not get better and they will die. So we need to promote animal testing. Another thing with animal testing is through kids through toys and other materials. About 1 million children under the age of 5 actually ingest some sort of poison, and it's because of the testing that we do on animals, we're able to save these kids. You've seen in the news children consuming plastic materials from China, and it's shown to have toxic effects. They basically do studies using animals to measure those toxic effects and see if those toxic effects are reversible. Another example of problems that we would see if we didn't use animal research is the thalidomide tragedy. Sorry, it's hard for me to pronounce that word actually. In post-World War Germany, thalidomide was used as a sleep aid. There were over 100,000 people diagnosed with the inability to actually sleep. So this medicine was actually widely used, first in Germany and then it went to the United States and other countries as a sleep aid. It was then later found that if you give these to pregnant women, it'll create limb-like disorders in her kids, as you can see right over here. And it was found that just one case of just one time of taking thalidomide into a pregnant woman doubled her chances to getting this disorder. So the woman just took it one time, it was a 50% chance that her child will have that. That is just one case in which animal testing really needs to be used. They found that just by using one rat, they were able to mimic these results. And if they used that one rat those years ago, all those women with the disformed kids would have never happened. Now that I showed a little bit of the moral justification, what are the benefits of animal testing, and I also outlined what are some of the negative aspects, I would like to conclude with several million people live today just because of the research from animal testing. There's no other viable method for doing this research without animals. And I also want to say, don't let your family fall victim to disorders that may be cured with animal testing like my family has. And I will finish with another quote. Oh, actually that's the same quote, so I'll finish now. Thank you.
Good. We had plenty of time.